Hey, welcome to the farm. Nick here with EagleRun23.com, hanging out with my buddy Dacian from Halworx Ballistics, and we are going to be talking about 8.6 Blackout. If you have any questions during this little interview, go ahead and leave those down below, and we will follow up with you and get all of your questions answered. Seems like 8.6 Blackout has a lot of questions around it.
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot of uncertainties, new technologies, new concepts, new theories.
That's one of my favorite things about 8.6. I was an early adopter, and that's actually how we met, was in the early days of figuring some stuff out. It makes it seem like we should have a lot more figured out, but we're making good progress all along the way.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many things, even that I learned at SHOT Show, that are some things that are coming and some stuff that's going well. So right now, why don't you give us a little state of the union for how 8.6 Blackout looks for you?
Oh, it looks phenomenal. I mean, it's growing. There's a lot of interest behind it. It's getting better and better. Bullet technology is getting better. Consistency in the loads. We've traveled down a long road of learning what you can and can't get away with.
You broke some guns?
Yeah, blew up a couple.
I blew up one.
And that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And luckily, no, I didn't get hurt, but I did walk away with some lessons learned, and there are some things that you should not do, and that is certain powders are very positional sensitive, and that could be a problem when you're playing with seating and you're increasing that dead space between the powder column and the bottom of that bullet.
And the case fill and all that.
And so when that bullet tips over to its side, if you don't get a consistent priming on the powder from the back end, when it goes over, flashes over, it is a thing called a flash over, and you get an instant spike in pressure, and boom.
I believe that is what happened to mine.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to think that I simply double charged that case, which is a possibility, but I think that I was under where I should have been, and I think I had a flashover.
So that's interesting you say that. So my process for load development is, so I use an auto trickler V3 and an auto trickler V4 on a lab certified FX120i.
So it's as accurate as it gets.
Yeah. The calibration weight is $100 because it comes with a certification. So you have to be OCD when it comes to this kind of stuff, and that's where I'm at. And it's very accurate. There's I haven't had any issues.
Mostly us silly reloaders, not necessarily the professionals.
Yeah.
So next, let's talk about twist rate. Twist rate seems to be the magic behind this round.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes behind that. Yeah. You're right. What is your idea on it?
Well, first of all, I'm a fan of fast twist. I was sold on what it does, and I think that it is the way to go for a caliber like this when we're shooting subsonic. But I don't know that I'm necessarily tied into a 1 in 5, 1 in 3. I don't have to have a 1 in 3, but I do like the fast twist.
Yeah. So I like the 1 in 3 for a lot of reasons. One of them is that it allows certain bullets to expand more violently. The cavitation is bigger. That's been proven. I know that this is a phrase that gets tossed around about rotational energy, but it's that phrase really encompasses a lot of things happening at one time. It's not just, oh, it's spinning really fast, so there's more spin, that's more energy. It's really very small and minute, but it's enough that it causes the bullet to act in a certain way that it wouldn't have before. And so the cavitation's more violent, the penetration is deeper. You guys are taking down animals that are safari grade animals with this stuff. I mean, water buffalo, you see the guys at Q, they're prolific in their hunts, and they do a lot of testing and development, and you know, they've proven it. They've proven it even with the meager little 300 grain that we've been loading, and this is a 400. So you can imagine what that's going to do.
400 grains. I'll get you closer here, and you can see these while we're talking. So the main thing with the twist is it allows the bullet to perform at a lower velocity and get the performance that you could have got if you were shooting it faster.
I'll give you an example, okay? The 185 grain Hornady CX, I load in the Super, right? That bottom expansion threshold is supposed to be about 2,000 feet, okay? But in the 8.6, in like a 12-inch, you can't get more than maybe 2,000 feet.
Right.
Yet at 100 yards, we've extracted bullets out of big hogs where they hit them in the bore plate, and the bullet is completely turned on itself, and it looks like it was mashed down and grinded,
And it's opened up.
Yeah, it's flattened out, deformed considerably. That has everything to do with the twist rate.
It's got to be twist rate.
It shows you where that bullet wanted to go when it hit dead
Right.
stop, right? When it hit dead stop, it needed to go somewhere else, and even though still driving through or going in, it still wanted to come apart, and so it's pretty violent. Now you sacrifice a little bit of accuracy with the 1 and 3 in most cases. It's not necessarily the hard and fast rule. There are bullet designs that are catching up, that are helping with the improving in the accuracy aspect of the 8.6. We've been playing around with a lot of different prototypes. Some of them show a lot of promise. I mean, I've got, loads from that 12-inch that I'm running, and I would show that today. I was getting right around MOA and a half at 100 with the 350s. I mean, it's tight for a subsonic. People are expecting sub MOA, but we're not dealing with your typical cartridges that are running really fast and flat.
Right.
Wind at 100 yards is equivalent to wind at 300.
Right.
So it's got a considerable effect on that bullet's
time.
flight.
It's in the air.
Yeah, it's in the air longer.
Time of flight. If it's slower, it's in the air longer.
Yeah.
So you have more effect from winds and of course drop.
It's definitely pushed around a little bit more, but you can kind of account for that in most cases. It's just how much do you really need, right? Back in the day, a 2 MOA gun was the standard for a hunting rifle, and the 4 MOA was the standard for the military.
Right. You got to keep that in mind.
So, you're asking the subsonic to do what some of these really high-end or even a lot of these designed for accuracy cartridges are doing.
Right. Okay, so next let's talk about what's coming for 8.6. The bullet technology is so fun and cool to see. There is a giant 400 grain projectile here. This entire bullet is probably about the same size as a 5.56 loaded. It is huge.
Longer, actually.
Longer than a 5.56, and that's just a projectile. So what are we seeing with heavier? We kind of saw that 350 was the max, but why is 350 the max? Now we have a 400.
So the huge advantage to the 400, other than the obvious, more mass equals more energy on target when you're capped out at said velocity range, right? You have, let's say, 1,000 feet, and that's your goal. Well, if you're going to run a 280 grain at 1,000 feet, you're only capped out at so much energy. But if you run a 400, or it goes up incrementally, and you go to a 300, then you go to a 350, and then you're up at a 400. Now you've exceeded a certain threshold, for foot-pounds of energy that you may be able to hunt bigger game now.
Right.
Whereas before you may have had to do a couple of follow-up shots.
So we can make up for the velocity with some weight.
Yeah.
All right.
The other advantage is that it takes up a lot more case capacity. Now, you'll have two camps of people in the 8.6, right? You'll have the people that say, "Oh, it's got too much case capacity for subs and not enough case capacity for supers," right?
Yes, I've heard that.
You hear that a lot, right? Yeah, I hear that a lot too. But they didn't take into account for the fact that there are going to be bullets that are coming down the road that are going to fill that space. And if you look at it,
there's not much case left.
There's not much case left now. Now you're down to a 2cc case from a 3cc.
Oh my goodness.
What this does now is you're at that level of the 338 arc.
As far as case capacity?
Yeah, once you put a 400, and
That's so
a
fun.
lot of people can think that you have to put more powder to push the 400s.
Oh.
Actually, it's less.
Less powder for a heavier bullet in this case.
Yes, because it's about pressure.
Interesting. So lots of testing coming with this before it's available on the market.
Yeah,
But
Still
we
a
will
prototype.
see. We could see a Halworx Ballistics 400 on your website at some
yes,
point.
and Maker Bullets is going to be offering in their Overwatch line. So
Okay.
there is a couple of things we're working out together on, a couple of stuff, and they're going to be exclusive. Halworx and Maker are going to be exclusively
Okay.
selling them.
So
They're
reloaders won't be able to get their hands on them.
Not at this time.
Yeah.
No, that's
Maybe
not
down
to
the
say
road.
it won't happen. It's just the owner that's making these bullets.
Right.
Right now, they're wanting to take one thing at a time. Let's see where it goes. Let's see if it's more headache than it's worth. Because a lot of reloaders, a lot of people think that they know what they're doing
Yes.
until they don't.
Read the comment section.
And so, and so you can get in a lot of trouble with these.
Yeah.
The same load that runs great in the bolt gun, once you move it over to, let's say, I don't know, a gas gun variant, it's severely overpressured. You see the signs, so you have to either change the powder type or dial it back a little bit more.
Okay. All right, so what else is coming down the pipeline? I'm sure that there's still a lot of bullet technology that we have to go with, but where do you think things are going?
Well, there's a couple things. So there are going to be some new manufacturers that are going to be producing ammo as well. As much as I love being one of the few,
Right.
we can't always meet the demand.
Right.
It doesn't stay on the shelf. It's always on back order status. For some people that aren't as particular about their accuracy, that might be okay.
Right.
They're hunting from a blind inside of 50 yards or 100 yards, fine, whatever. Take your 5 MOA load.
Right.
But if you want the really good stuff, you come to us.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on all the forums and all the websites, and people have their favorites, and
Sure.
I've shot virtually everything on the market. You're local to me here, and we're able to do some testing together, which I think is super fun and cool.
Yeah.
We're going to be shooting some gel blocks, and we're going to be hunting some pigs tonight. Lots of cool stuff. What else is coming for us in the future?
If you look at the bottom of this case, what does it say?
It says 8.6 BO.
Okay. So that is a VAROG
Yes.
standard now.
23 8.6 Blackout. That's what they say.
Now what does it say on this one?
This is 23 VAROG, and it says 8.6 BLK.
So this may be the new head stamp at some point.
Oh, okay.
Don't know for sure. Keep my fingers crossed though, but my preference is for BLK.
Is it possible that could have something to do with Sammy or some things like that? Because I've heard some things that Sammy doesn't want to approve it because of a name or whatever. I talked to the people at Sammy. They didn't say it was not going to happen. They just said it would be an obstacle.
Yeah. Well, and the only obstacle is that if there's any change to what would be submitted that might conflict with what's out already.
Right.
So I don't think that's going to be the case.
Hoping for no changes, but
I don't want to speculate, but Q has become a voting Sami member as of this year.
I've heard several people, specifically in the 8.6 Blackout community, that are now on the Sammy team. So
yeah, and I think that would be great for them to do it, because then they own it. I mean, it's their baby,
Right.
and they'll keep everything the way they've been making it. There really isn't a problem with the way they've been making it at all. We've seen some, depending on the bullets, you can get sub MOA.
yeah,
Those are not expanders, but
yeah,
there's going to be a different way we have to tackle bullet shapes and profiles and bearing surfaces and weights and balancing that weight to maybe tune it in a little bit. And then there's a new powder that's coming.
I've been hearing about this.
Yes.
I don't know who's making it or what it's called, but I've been hearing that there is a bulkier-ish powder.
There's a bulkier-ish ball powder supposed to come out that's going to fill the entire case.
I think that stuff's so cool.
But it might be a problem for 400s, but it'll be okay for 350s and 300s.
Okay.
But that's fine with me.
Yeah, because you're already taking up the case capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I already have single-digit SDs routinely. You've seen it before. You've seen it time and time again. It's really about your loading process and how consistent your brass prep is beforehand. And this translated over to the commercial loading side. It's you can transfer it there too.
Yeah.
It's just you incorporate that as part of your loading process for even the commercial side. You slow things down a little bit. It's not about the bottom dollar, for us at least. For us, it's about getting something that's consistent enough that you have the confidence to hunt with it and make your memories.
Yeah.
You make your memories hunting with family members, friends, whatever.
Right.
And that's more important to me, really. The money will come.
Yeah.
It
You're doing a
always
good
does.
job
Yeah.
chasing the right things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we need to wrap this up and go shoot some pigs. The feeders are going to be going off here in about 30 minutes, and we need to be in position. So thanks for watching. Thanks, Dacian, for bringing some ammo and doing all the testing. And if you have any questions, let us know down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.